Hello and welcome to My Addiction. I'm Megan Weaver.
And I am not Marti Noxon.
No, she is not. My sister was not feeling well today, and so she is not with us, but we get the wonderful Lilly to sit up front and in front of the camera and join our guest today. We're having John Arthur Hill on, and I've known him for a long time, and I just think he is one of the world's greatest people, truly.
Truly. And also just like the list of things he does and does successfully is incredible.
Yeah, he's got quite
Especially
a resume.
From a producer point of view, I'm just like, I was in awe.
And he's not too hard on the eyes either. He's a good-looking man, but his heart is one that not many have. Like, he genuinely is somebody that I love and adore, and I was just so happy that he was available to come, and he happens to be in LA this week, and he's been in New York so much, so we're going to have him on, and Marty's going to be really bummed, but I believe that he will come back for season 2, so we'll see. We'll see. But
Fingers crossed.
I'm excited for you to meet him.
Yeah.
Let's bring him on. Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Okay.
It's cool. I get to see the light from this end.
I know. Now, I know. We'll get into that.
We'll get into it.
Here we are.
What's this podcast about?
Wow, you didn't do your research.
We embrace subtlety.
It's
around
about what's right behind me, behind my head. Welcome to My Addiction, John Arthur Hill.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
I love you more.
I love running into you anytime.
I know, and we tend to do that.
The streets of New York.
Streets of New York, BravoCon.
Parking garage.
Yes, anywhere. I'll take it. I'll take it wherever I can get it.
And it's nice to meet you.
And we have Lilly.
I already forgot your name.
I'm so excited. I'm Lilly.
Right, of course.
I'm usually hiding over there, but I'm so excited. You're Bravo royalty.
Am I?
Oh my
Wow.
God, I can do this now and we can edit it out later.
Okay.
It's weird. But I saw you in Boy from Oz
No.
in the original production.
Oh my
I got so excited when I saw that.
Wow. What is
Yeah.
your memory of that show?
Oh, I loved it.
You did. How old were you at the time? Like middle school?
That's a good question.
I was
Middle.
10.
Yeah.
It was
Your parents took you to that show. Do you
My
know what the show's
mom-
about?
No.
The show's about a philandering homosexual that married Judy Garland and then died of AIDS.
well,
I mean, married Liza Minnelli, sorry.
Yeah,
but
I
fuck Judy Garland.
fell in love with Hugh Jackman afterwards.
Well,
though.
of course.
Yeah.
Do you remember me in the show?
Of
No,
course.
you do not, you liar.
I did check.
What
and
year
I
was
remember
it?
your song.
Uh-huh.
What
The
year
song
was
you were in.
this?
This was 2003.
3.
Oh wow,
was a long time ago.
That was
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. That's when I got married to my first husband.
It's a good year.
Yeah, but it was a genuinely wonderful memory,
It's
and I
all-
love
it was
that
a cool
show.
big
so.
show.
Yeah.
It was just kind of crazy. I was 26, I think, playing a 56-year-old. It was weird. It was. I had a bad attitude.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
you weren't living in gratitude
Not yet. I was on the precipice of this.
of my addiction. Well,
Segue.
Lily, I'm very excited that you're here on the couch with us. My sister Marti, who I started to explain, my co-host, who I started to kind of give you her backstory.
She's
and you-
anti-Broadway. She says, I'm not going.
She's like, I do not like that John Arthur Hill. I will not sit on the sofa with him. She's out sick today, but you said you know of her.
I have known her name for a really long time. I was saying my ex-boyfriend is a big writer, screenwriter in LA. And when Bravo was deciding to do scripted shows, I remember everyone was kind of clamoring to get their pitches together. And they were like, we're going with Marti Noxon because she's so established. And like, she's such an easy bet. Like we know that she'll succeed. And then that was just always the hubbub. And then I asked my boyfriend and he was like, oh yeah, no, she's everything. She's so major. And like, I just remember her from that time, her name being touted as like the best writer.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
she's going to listen to this, so she will. And that was
She'll be so
Girlfriend's Guide
excited.
to
To
Divorce.
yeah.
Well, I want to get into you. And I mean, I was doing a little bit of research on you. And can you believe it? I usually don't do research because
Oh,
Lillian
yeah.
does, but it's you. And so I wanted to dig deep.
Thank you.
But I mean, you've done it all. I mean, you have the radio show that you're the co-host on with Andy Cohen. You have your own radio show on Sirius XM. You produced Watch What Happens Live. You've produced other television. You have a stand-up act that
Yeah.
you do. What's going on with the stand-up?
I'm writing a new show.
You are okay because the other one, Wellness Check.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
did.
I did it for 2 years,
Yeah.
and like I still have a couple dates coming up just to kind of do it, like one-offs in P-Town and Fire Island and stuff. But I was kind of like, maybe I have another idea for a new show that I'm going to kind of write. Kind of take what I learned from doing that one. And that one was kind of like a hodgepodge of just random stuff. And then this one will be more of like an actual piece,
A piece. Will you be singing?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because he's also like a fantastic singer.
My voice is kind of going though.
Is it?
As you get older, like, things
get a little scratchy.
It's not as easy as it used to be.
It has more flavor.
That's right. That's a good way of looking at
Aw, yeah, more range. And then you also have another podcast out. You've done a podcast before, but now you have Show Pony.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Thank you for watching.
Yes. I watched, I listened, I did a little bit of both. I listened to some on the plane, and then I watched some recently on YouTube, which is really fun. And because we're going to get into like the real like nitty gritty of addiction, which, is what the show's about. But I kind of think you have an offshoot like addiction. And I think that you're addicted to Jackie Warner.
This is an intervention.
Sean, here come the other people of this intervention. No, but you're obsessed. Tell us about how did you, because I remember, so just so you know, his podcast Show Pony, he delves into this Bravo show that was on back in like the early days of Bravo.
2006. And
it was called Workout, and I watched that show religiously.
I bet. Everyone did, except me.
Yeah, really?
It's not even a rewatch. It's just a watch. I've never seen it.
It was like, I remember it was at the top of that building on Sunset and Vine or somewhere.
Yeah.
And what made you rewatch it and make it like the basis?
Okay.
So
I've been thinking about doing. I wanted to. My friend was like, "You should do a Bravo podcast," and I was like, "Everyone does a Bravo podcast. That's so like, not me. That's Andy's thing, And then I thought about it, and I saw a bunch of my friends making a lot of money from doing Bravo podcasts that are funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, I might be uniquely qualified to do some sort of Bravo podcast, produce Watch What Happens Live, Project Runway, Kathy Griffin, Life on the D List. And I've hosted with Andy for 10 years. So I do have, so I was like, well, but I don't want to do just like, here's what happened on Potomac. Can you believe Giselle wore that? Like, I don't care about that.
Right. Yeah.
But I was like, I could get into like a vintage rewatch kind of excavation of that time period. My first thought was to do Tabitha. And
is that the hairstyle?
Yeah. She's my favorite personality of all time. And then I thought it would be better to do a show that was a linear story, not just standalone episodes. And my friend was like, you should do Workout. And something just was like, since I'd never seen it, I could get into that. And honestly, when I started, I present it like I'm obsessed. I'm not really that obsessed.
I know. It's almost like, it feels like a true crime podcast, which, by the way,
like that would
I'm
be
obsessed
funny.
with.
Yeah.
And the way you come at this whole, recapping and diving into the characters.
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb. And I love that you've got, and then the fucking music you play to like dramatize like what's happening, and like it cracks me up.
That's just me learning Final Cut, and it's like, oh, I could drag down this sound effect and put that. It's just kind of me this is my practice on how to edit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep all the money for myself. Not that I'm making any. I think I've made $100.
Right.
But
that's not nothing.
I'm like, I'll just edit it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I like doing it.
It's creative.
Yeah.
It's relaxing.
Yeah.
It is. It's like a video game.
Exactly.
And you get into it.
Yeah. It's creative.
So is the workout, the show Workout, is that's the crux of the season 1 of Show Pony?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is, and then you finally, so the thing that I thought was funny is like episode 1 through I think 5, you're talking about Jackie Warner. I think she cancels, she gets sick. You're visiting the place where she worked, and then you finally talk to her, but you guys can't figure out the video shit.
That's never happened to us.
Oh, yeah, Lillian.
It was stressful, and then it was like, maybe I can use this as the bit.
Right,
It's janky, and that's the point.
Yeah.
So usually I do the interview first, and then I kind of am like, what is this going to be like? And then I shoot an intro and outro around it, like to make it a bit. Like just kind of going off like it's a YouTube show. Yeah. So trying to make it like entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
then what's going to be, are you going to do a season 2
Yeah.
podcast? Of course you are.
I want to do, I might venture off Bravo and do Anna Nicole. I want to do that show. Yeah.
Are you going to interview Patrick and Pohl?
Oh, that's what somebody else.
Yeah,
I forgot.
I
Yeah,
think that
know
they
her.
were famously best friends
Yeah,
with her, or very close
definitely.
with her for a long time.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Anna Nicole Smith when I was younger, obviously,
Yeah.
and that's another show
Yes.
that is like.
I did
just-
watch that one.
Oh, how could
It
you
was
not?
the first big reality show that
That was
I
on E,
watched.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you
Yeah.
have to do that.
I think
one.
that's the next one because also.
Yes. Yes. Addiction and, all of that. I think that, gosh, John, I've known you, I feel like a long ass time.
Like at least 8 years.
I remember when we moved, when I was doing Jeff Lewis Live, we were in a teeny tiny studio.
Yeah.
It was like off of, what was
Wilshire.
Wilshire? Yeah. And then we moved into the big fancy new Sirius XM
So much nicer.
offices.
Yeah.
And that's when we really got to know you.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, Lillian, we didn't know him. Like we knew of him.
Yeah.
But because now we were all in one big building and all the shows were being done and we were all kind of like passing each other in the hallways, there are these big plate glass windows. So when you're in a studio, you can see people walking to the other studios and it's like this big glass thing. So we would watch John Hill walk by and we didn't know him, but we just thought you were so hot.
Oh, I
and
love it. Thank you.
women, men, gay, straight, you were right up all of our alleys.
Thank God.
And we'd be like, damn.
This is what I want to hear. I needed to hear this today.
Look
Thank
at
you.
that. And then, and that happened for quite a while.
And then we got to know him and we thought, you're disgusting.
No, we got
Wow.
we
You're
got
really
to know
ugly.
you and we genuinely fell in love with you. But it was so nice that we got to like hang out and be together.
Yeah.
And then you came on Jeff Lewis Live a bunch of times, and I can't remember when it was. Obviously, it was. I don't know if it was early on in your sobriety, but and you are sober, which is why I asked you to come on this show because I wanted to dive into that. But when you mentioned during one of those shows that you were sober, I didn't know that.
Oh.
I certainly wasn't sober, and kind of famously the ridiculous hot mess drunk on that show, and that's actually who I was in real life too. But I was kind of this hot mess,
You never came across
Crosses
to
that?
me,
Yeah.
like that at all.
Yeah.
We remember things differently, I think.
Really?
In my mind, I was a disgusting mess. Anyone that looked at me knew exactly what was going on and was repulsed. But you have a different memory of me from back then.
Oh, right. No, to me, you seem like you had your shit together.
Same with you.
But when you said that you were sober, and there's something, this famous quote that they say, I'm a part of Alcoholics Anonymous, but they say, I want what that person has.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that you were sober and you were sort of newishly sober. And I remember thinking, how do you do it? And I want what he has because he's, he seems like he's
so we're going full circle.
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice to hear.
Yeah, I remember thinking that. And there were a few people who stuck out to me that I admired because of their sobriety.
Yeah.
And it was, you were one of them. And I didn't know many people in kind of my industry that were sober. And another one was Lala Kent. I was working on her house and she told me, she's like, Megan, I just wanted to let you know that I'm newly sober. And I remember thinking, God, I want what she has, So what was that like for you? I mean, because, and Lillian and I were talking about this before you got here, just being a part of, sort of the Bravo world and being, on these shows.
And reality TV in general is just so steeped in alcohol.
Yeah, well, it's okay, so two things.
Yeah.
Yes, reality TV, or are you going to say something?
I was just going to say, basically, like, you can burp. Like, what was it like? What changed? And what's happening for you now? Sort of, that's kind of the three-parter.
Well, yeah, reality TV was a toxic environment for me. When I was producing Tori and Dean.
Wait, you produced Tori and Dean?
Yes, In Love, when they were at the bed and breakfast.
Oh,
I know.
My God, that's amazing.
Yeah. I would drink. I would drive the crew van home sometimes, and I'd buy like a bunch of Sparks, which was like Four Loko, and just drink them on. I wasn't a big drinker. I was like mainly drugs.
Yeah.
But I would take whatever.
Sure.
But I remember it was very, very much like getting stoned and drinking in that arena, and the toxicity kind of fueled what was happening with me mentally anyway. But within that, I had some people like you were just saying, I won't say their names, but like my boss early on, like my main boss at World of Wonder was sober, and I recognized it early on. I was like, I have a problem, and that's how it can be. I put that away. It took me a really long time. My immediate boss on a show called Dance Your Ass Off, which is about weight loss via dancing.
Ooh, like Zumba?
Like, I can't even, it was actually a good show.
Okay.
I wanted what she had. I was like, how does she have this aura, this confidence and chill, and she's gorgeous, and then our other coworker was like, she's sober. And I was like, oh. And I was just so very much not sober, but I recognized a similarity. I like spot it, you got it, as they say. And so I knew, like, when it was time for me to kind of ask for help, they're the people I went to.
Okay.
And they were like, unfazed, like, absolutely, whatever you know.
And they were people you trusted and you knew that would have your back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long has it been?
4.5 years.
4.5 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
4 years and let's see, February, March, April, May. What are we in June now?
Yeah.
4 years, 4.5 months.
I'm going to be 2 years sober on your birthday.
No way.
Yeah.
On October 23rd?
Uh-huh.
No way.
Yeah, that's my sober date.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that date?
Because of you.
Is it my birthday?
Because I decided that, you inspired me so much that I'm going to get sober on
wanted what
John
I had
Arthur
so
Hill's
bad.
birthday. Yeah, it was all part of my grand plan.
I love that. So
So that I could get you on my podcast.
Your sobriety is a Scorpio.
Is it?
And
Aw.
Libra cusp.
Well, that's like my daughter.
Are you
Yeah,
Libra?
my daughter is in the room.
Okay.
Scorpio. Yeah.
We're the best.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit off air. Is this even air?
That's the bonus episode.
Yeah. Are we on
You
air?
call it My Relapse.
We're recording.
The bonus
We're not
episode.
live.
My
My
relapse.
Relapse. It's the after show. You do the show, and then afterwards you stay around just do like a 10-minute
Just
bonus.
like, yeah.
My
Well,
Relapse.
can we drink during that one?
Yeah. Sure.
My relapse.
One day back.
Well, at least we know that if shit gets real or the rug gets pulled out from under us, there is that could
Plan
be
B.
the backup plan. Which is really twisted.
Really change the tone.
You gotta
We
laugh at
actually
it.
start doing like a gotcha podcast.
I mean, it just gets mean
You
spirited.
get people on and you try to get them to relapse by the time the episode's over.
Oh, yeah.
This is
I know.
genius. This should be a real, not only a podcast but a reality TV show.
Yeah, or Marty can write a fictionalized version.
She could.
Yeah, so because we don't want to actually make people relapse, I guess.
No, we really don't.
We want the opposite.
But it's funny. Yeah, exactly.
Trying to be supportive.
We are supportive. God damn it.
We're friends.
Did you ever have, speaking of that, trying to get people to relapse, did you ever have, because I've had this, where you had friends during your addictive years, I guess you want to call it, when you were actively in addiction, that weren't so happy that you got sober? Did relationships change for
Yes.
you? Friendships?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One in particular that pops out. I had a very codependent best friend type of situation, and it's still to this day. I love him forever. He was there more than anyone else, like very much there. But like something, I don't know if it's his issue or what. I don't really know. But like he didn't like it, and he would get mad, and he would, when I was trying to get clean, he took the opportunity to like be the only person to this day who's ever been like insulting to me about like, you're a piece of shit. And by the way, I was a bad friend, and I did act like a piece of shit to him. But most people who I did behave that way were like, this isn't you. The sober version of you could be the greatest person. And so once I started to get sober, like my closest friends, Andy and my sister and whoever were like, not bygones, like, we'll get to that amends shit later. But like, they never were like mean. So one friend, and like, we just never found our way back. Even when I gotten sober 2 years into it, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to kind of reconnect. And it just doesn't work. And also it's surprising who sticks around and who doesn't. Sometimes it's not even like, sometimes people you think, I have another friend who was really close with me during that time and only knew me as kind of like negative and down. I was very like dark and hateful and bitchy when I was active. Like,
Yeah.
And then once I got sober, like literally just like stopped talking to me. I don't think it was mean spirited or anything, but for whatever.
He was used to that version of you or more comfortable with that version of you.
Yeah. And you know how this is. Like, I feel like the exact same person I was, but also a 100% different person. So it's almost like a personality transplant. But I remember I did those things. I acted that way. I behaved crazy. But it is, I don't know if it's too much of a change for them to adjust to or something, but don't you find it interesting? It's like they say it's like a deck of cards and you throw them in the air and the way it lands is not going to be how you could predict, but the people that or get closer to you, also the people who got closer to me were a surprise.
That for me was a big surprise.
A lot of times I think it's people who have experience with addiction in their family or something and they know how to relate to it. Like I had a friend watch What Happens Live who we weren't tight, but as soon as I went to treatment, she was like one of the only people who ever came to visit me. She would come out to Brooklyn all the time and like clung to me and was like still to this day like my ride or die.
Yeah, well, the best example I can tell you of a relationship that really blossomed that wasn't, it was there. It was my sister Marti, who isn't here today.
Is Marti sober?
Yes, Marti has been sober for 100 years. I mean, I don't.
I want what she has.
Yeah, exactly, and that was another one. I don't remember a time. I remember some little snippets of time when she wasn't sober, but for most of my life and my memory of her, it's her being sober. So it's that long.
As a writer, I feel like getting sober is the best thing you can do. Any creative, artistic endeavor,
100.
Design, anything like pollutes it.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like, so she and I got very, very close. And then the people who left my life or I, sort of shut that door was not surprising to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a...
Sure. Well, some are obvious. Some are like, okay, this is not a good influence. And
no. And this
lower companions, as they say.
Or this was toxic and now it really kind of just took me to take the blinders off to see that was, that something wasn't serving me, just like the alcohol wasn't serving me.
Right.
Yeah.
But
the core, like my core friends, like the ones like my ride or dies, never bat an eyelash.
Yeah, exactly.
They never bat an eyelash.
Because they've been waiting for you, kind of. Like, they're like, until you figure this out.
Yeah, and they also, a lot of them will say to me, you never seemed that bad. I guess because there wasn't for me a very blatant rock bottom. Right? There wasn't
you weren't ruining events.
I wasn't ruining my family life. I didn't lose my job.
Yeah.
I just had an internal battle. Where I just didn't like it anymore. I just was so sick of feeling bad. Yeah. And I've told this story to Lillian and everybody listening that it really, the reason I got sober was I was sick of the hamster wheel, right? The managing the hangover and the drunk and being obsessed with it. But also I had some really important things happening in my life at that time. I knew that my romantic relationship wasn't working. I had a relationship with a friend that wasn't working. And my daughter was leaving for college. And I was like, those are too big to drink around, and I've got to really hit these with complete clarity,
It's just so huge, though, that you realized that, though, instead of waiting till you were in it to know that.
Yeah, I think, thank you. And I think this, I can't, sometimes I can't believe it. Sometimes I'm like,
me too.
Of all fucking people, I had the wherewithal to go, hey, you should probably take a look at your drinking and either completely stop or, well, I did. I took a look at my drinking and the next day I completely stopped. But I feel like I was the last person on this earth that would have done something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't seem like me.
Well, we discover who we are, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it either. It's truly a miracle when people start talking about the spiritual aspect of sobriety. Believe what you want, but for me, it kind of, the easiest way to explain it is like, there is no reason why I should be alive even. There was because I did have lots of rock bottoms that were really bad.
Yeah.
Like interventions, treatment twice.
Yeah.
My friends were dragging me to meetings. You know what I mean? I was ruining weddings and things. I was a mess.
Yeah.
High at work. I was high at Watch What Happens Live.
Right.
On fentanyl patches. Trying to type my scripts and write jokes. Trying to sleep.
Functioning.
Not really.
Okay. Yeah.
Andy was saying to my face at work, he's like, I'm concerned about your life.
Yeah.
You know? And everyone, I was asleep
Right.
at work.
Yeah, I was hungover a lot
Mm-hmm.
at work, you know.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
But you said it's almost like a spiritual
that's proof that
Yes.
something else is trying to get me somewhere, you know, or has a plan for you. I don't really even need to define it, but it's like that's the only proof I need. It's like, and I'm so grateful for.
Yeah,
That's truly a miracle. I truly should not be alive were it to be just about what I feel like doing. Because I was like in New York, like I was. I would like wear a blazer to work to try to seem very together, but I would be high on drugs.
Yeah.
And then I would walk home in the blazer, and then I would kind of lose time, wake up in my apartment the next day with the blazer on, but it was covered in salt, which means I had like fallen in the snow.
Right.
And like I don't know what happened to me. And that was not just once, that was all the time.
Yeah.
I woke up in hospitals, I still don't know how I got there. Like I have all my fingers and toes.
Thank God. Yeah.
That's a miracle.
There, to compare crazy stories, but like, there's been things where I've woken up and I'm like, why can't I walk on my left foot? Why?
Well, some people,
how did I sprain that? And,
some people
injured myself.
It's kind of what you said about inside battle. Some people go through that and what I went through, and they don't have the interior conflict. They're like, this is how it goes when I drink. It's not a big deal. But for me, the whole world was colored with despair. Yeah.
Yes.
Even if I wasn't that messed up, I carried that around with me at all times. And for some reason, taking the drugs and alcohol alleviated that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I sit, a lot of it for me too is just the sitting in the... it's weird. It's sitting in the boredom, sitting in the unease, sitting in, it's not that I feel like I was running away from being with myself.
Yes. Well, now how do you feel?
Now I still have that. I still sit in some uncomfortability.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Well, we're human.
But I find other addictions that aren't going to kill me or somebody else.
Like what?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Podcasting.
Girl, there's so much that I am addicted to, and I want to find out what you are too. But there's first of all, television, because that is a numbing.
Yeah,
escape.
I
mean, she knows all of true crime podcasts.
Love it.
That was my fault.
Great.
She fucked me up.
Yeah, in terms of causing a relapse, that was my fault.
Yeah,
were you always this way? Like, even as a kid, were you compulsive, obsessive about like what you liked, and you had to get it all? Like, were you always like that?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. There's one time that, if we're going to talk about when I started doing drugs and alcohol, I was telling my kid this story that when I was 19, I had a best friend. Her name was Kim. I won't say her last name.
Fields.
Kim Fields. Right. Facts of life. Who was like bad influence. She was the partier. She was the one that we had all the parties. Her parents were awesome. They would take us to Hawaii every summer.
Oh, fun.
So when I was 19, we were going to Hawaii. And this was 1989.
Nice.
She was like, "How are we going to party in Hawaii?" Like, she wanted to smoke pot. She goes, "Well, yeah, it's going to be hard to score." She goes, "I got an idea." She was also dating a drug dealer at the time.
Oh, that helps.
So she convinced me the morning of our flight to tape with masking tape 4 huge bags, Ziploc bags, bricks, to our bodies.
Oh my God.
And fly 6 hours to Hawaii with marijuana taped to our bodies. We made it safely. We smoked the pot. I think she even traded some for like ecstasy. I wasn't into like that kind of stuff as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I never did mushrooms. I never did, when I was younger. It took to me being in my 40s to get into the
I was
harder
a late bloomer
stuff.
too.
You were?
I didn't drink or smoke all through high school.
Yeah.
Not really through college. It wasn't until I went to Broadway did I find pills and booze.
See, that's more romantic. think I mentioned on this show that I smoked pot for the first time when I was 11. But I mean, I did stupid stuff. I mean,
was too scared.
You were too scared.
I came from a very Christian household, and our parents were very strict, and everything was really, really Christian and just very religious. And like anything you did, you were going to get in trouble. So I was very straight-laced because I knew I eventually wanted to get out of there.
It's when you got out is when you let it rip.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I took drugs and used alcohol because I couldn't cope with my own emotions and feelings and had no coping skills in life.
Same.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is just easier.
Yeah.
Just avoid it all.
Right. Just run from it.
Yeah.
Run from it.
Yeah.
What other addictions do I have, Lillian, that I've talked about?
Goodness.
Podcasts.
You've done plants.
Oh yeah, my
I've gone through a
garden.
phase.
Yeah.
My garden is I have a money tree in my bathroom, and it started out really, really thin, and I'm convinced that it is 100% an indication of my financial future. This plant, it's crazy town USA how obsessed I am with this plant. I mean,
This is new. This is
the money
a
tree?
brand new story.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
breaking
I'm obsessed
news.
with it. I stare at it while I'm in my shower and I'm like, okay, it's looking a little thin. I'm going to have to, in the morning, I get my glasses and I look and see what little, I mean, it's crazy town.
I totally get it.
Okay.
I'm the same way.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do you have a green thumb?
I kind of do.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My subletter that I had while I was in New York kind of killed my plants, and I am bringing them back to life quickly.
So you sublet your house
Yeah.
and you went to New York for what, 3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when we saw you. We went and visited John. I'm kind of obsessed with or addicted to this website, and I joined it. It's called Kindred, and it's where you can swap homes.
Okay.
Would you think I was
I've
going to
heard
say
of it.
something else?
I don't know what you're like.
Where's this
Ashley
going?
Madison.
I went very wholesome. I went holiday
Oh, you
rom-com.
did. You would. I know that brain of John's, and I would think that it would go somewhere.
This website. It's crazy.
It's called Swap. You can swap homes with people all over the world.
Yes, love it.
And
That's the way to go.
It just seems like my parents did it. They went to Belgium once. They did Cape Cod. So now I'm obsessed with it. But I have these 2 dogs. One's a little bit close to the end of life. The other
How
one,
old?
one's 7 and one's 9.
Mine's 11, and I think about him every day. Like, someday I'm going to have to really come to terms with this.
You wrote a
Is that-
song about him.
Yeah.
Is it Pete? Pete. Pete's a little dog, right?
Yeah, he's little.
So little dogs,
I think we have another 6 years.
you're good.
Yeah.
I have a Bernese mountain dog who's 7 and he's at end of life. But I'm actively looking online at what I can get and do and swap. But I'm afraid, like what happened to you, I'm afraid of a bad.
Well, okay, with those things, you're going to have an agreement in place. You're going to have signatures. You're going to have papaperwork. So you're not going to come home to someone having like
Trashed it. Still, it's like an Airbnb.
You never know.
You
I
never,
know.
you never know.
I've done Airbnb a few times. It's fine, but I love a hotel.
Me too.
Me too.
I want to be like Elaine Stritch, end of life, and live in the Carlisle.
That would be.
You know, Elaine Stritch, at the end of her life, she was sober for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'm going to die. So at 5 p.m. every night, I'm going to have a Cosmopolitan.
Yeah. Okay,
it.
good.
Because she truly, alcohol was the love of her life.
Yeah.
And she was like, I am literally dying, so I'm going to drink. And like, I'm not like.
How long was she dying for? I mean,
10 years?
I'm not feeling so good. No. I just know that life has gotten so much better. And like when you said creatively, I've never been more on top of my game creatively.
Yeah,
you know,
same.
it just flows.
And my brain was healing, I think. It was very damaged. The first couple years was just kind of like learning how to walk through life and like keep it together.
Yeah.
And now things are starting to become enjoyable and I'm just more present. It was hard for the first couple years.
Yeah.
We had Dr. Al on, and there's a whole science to that. The dopamine imbalances.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's
The
a
Swiss
reason it's a
cheese is
disease.
kind of coming back together.
Exactly, yeah.
By the time I got sober, I was really, I'd been taking so many benzos. That was my main opiates and
Is that like
benzos.
Xanax and
Yes.
yeah.
But like elephant doses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you build up a tolerance.
Like I would wake up and take an elephant dose. Like,
Yeah.
and then I would like jog
Right.
Like just, I was tranquilized.
Yeah.
And those are amnesiacs and like they really,
Oh yeah, you got it. Your body probably had to really go through a lot of repair.
those drugs they control your central nervous system, breathing, eating, sleeping, motor function. It's your entire, your central nervous system. So like when you're taking those, your central nervous system goes, oh, we can take a break. This pill's going to do it for me.
Do it for you.
So when you do that all the time, you're not sure if it will snap back.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was,
Well, you're snapped back.
I'm snapped.
And so did your body. Are you part of, like, I watched you physically get fit.
Right.
Like, I saw your whole transformation.
Yeah.
Not that you were bad before, because remember the glass and saying, like, objectifying him. But you had this crazy, like, fitness, like, spell. And
I
you're
was
still,
definitely addicted to that.
you are still.
Still, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when in your sobriety did you start the obsession, addiction with exercise and getting fit?
Well, I've always been into it. I just was so unhealthy. I couldn't really do too much.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
But about 8 months in, I was like, after treatment, rehab, I was like eating ice cream for breakfast and pancakes for lunch and full fat Pepsi and anything I wanted.
Yeah.
And you should, by the way, if you're listening and you are trying to get sober, the first year, do whatever the fuck you want. Eat,
I did.
go to, like pizza all night.
Yeah.
Taco, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. McDonald's all
You're probably
day.
eating less. If you're an alcoholic, if that's your drug of choice, I'll bet if you're eating all the pizza and the ice cream, you're probably still consuming less calories than all those bottles of wine and
Totally.
Yeah.
And so what happened was the big crux is, this is a trip. My first year of sobriety, my dad's health started to plummet. And so around the 8-month mark, it got like critical with him. And I was like, oh, I mean, and I wasn't young when I got sober. I was 43,
Right.
you know? And I was like, okay, my dad is only 74 and he's dying quickly. And it's like, what am I doing for my physical health? And I was also kind of around step 9, making amends. And somebody, a trainer in my gym who was also sober, and he was like, you know, you can think about it as making an amends to your body, because I had trashed my body, like treated it like absolute trash.
Yeah.
And so I got into it that way and was kind of like, I'm just going to say I am able-bodied. Like I said, I have my fingers and I shouldn't, you know. And so I just kind of started showing up every day for my physical health. And then it went from there.
Yeah, because you look incredible.
Also, I didn't ever take my shirt off before, you know?
Right.
I reached 43, and all through my 30s, I was too embarrassed to take my shirt off, just because I felt ugly. Even if I maybe wasn't, I felt disgusting.
I feel like that about my arms. I don't wear sleeveless and all that. But here's the thing. You are.
But you look gorgeous. Like,
thank you. I have a pretty face.
Stunningly beautiful.
My face is, that's going downhill. I'm going to need but anyway, we'll get there.
No.
But physically.
That's an addiction too. I could eat, if I had a lot of money,
I would do everything.
look
I would
cat
Kris
lady.
Jenner the fuck out of this face,
Yeah.
and I might still take loans to do that. No, I have always been pretty okay with my face. But I grew up, I was a heavy kid, and I grew up in my 20s as being, I was a plus size model. But I did always have like weight, and issues and all of that. And the alcohol did not help. The alcohol bloated me. It made me lethargic. It made me not want to exercise. It made me unmotivated.
Yes.
But I will say that during these first couple years of sobriety, I have allowed myself to eat whatever I want and to be, that doesn't matter. And I still think I am consuming a lot less calories than I did. But I do really want, and you inspire me, and to get into the real physical fitness of it all, because the clock is, time's marching
That's
on.
the thing.
And
I'm almost 50.
Right. I'm 54. And I want, and I have read the things about dementia.
Right. My dad had dementia. That's what he died from.
He did?
Yes. So I was like,
gotta do all the things that reverse it or stop it in
and
its
they
tracks.
say building lean muscle mass and lowering your cholesterol and all that, and no sugar and refined. So I started reading about all that stuff and just changed my diet first.
Yeah. I think that's I love to spin. I used to love to do Taebo.
I did Taebo in Sherman Oaks with Billy Blanks.
I did it too with Irene Blanks, Michael Blanks. Irene Blanks used to personal train me.
Yeah, I went when I was at Pepperdine in undergrad in 1996, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
we would drive through the canyon and go to Sherman Oaks. We probably took class together
I'm sure we did.
because it was before the tapes.
No, there was.
It was a studio.
Right, there was a big studio.
Yeah.
I remember with the big red writing on the wall.
Yes.
I used
Brooke
to,
Shields used to
and
go.
then they moved from that Sherman Oaks location to one in North Hollywood. But I used to go to that Billy Blanks with my friend Kim's mom, who
It was
made
everything.
It was everything.
You'd line up an hour before to get in.
Okay, so you want to hear the craziest story about that? About lining up for an hour and a half to get in? A friend, when I was young, early 90s, a friend of mine, her boyfriend ran the board for Dave Matthews, the Dave Matthews Band.
love.
Cool.
So she asked me, do you want to come to a Dave Matthews show? And I said, of course, I love Dave Matthews. She said, okay, well, we're going to get there early and go backstage. So we get there early, go backstage. We meet her boyfriend who's setting up his board and all that. There's nobody around. And all of a sudden, Dave Matthews and Tim, what was his partner? Tim Reynolds? Anyway, Dave Matthews comes out and he's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, good. He's like, what are you up to? I said, I'm about to watch your show. He goes, yes. He said, LA's interesting. He goes, what'd you do today? And I said, Tai Bo. He goes, what's Tai Bo? I said, well, it's this exercise. I said, but it's a bummer because you got to stand in line for like an hour and a half before the class. He's like, oh, wow. Okay. He's like, well, I got to go do this thing. He grabs me a folding chair and puts it on the side of the stage where the curtains are. And Dave Matthews is right there. And he's looking out and he's like, hello, Los Angeles. And you hear, right? And I can't see. He goes, I love LA. He goes, but LA is crazy. You guys, I went to do Tai Bo today and I had to stand in line for an hour and a half.
He stole your material.
He stole my line.
Wow.
So,
Thief.
I mean, what a compliment. I mean, he liked my Tai Bo, but I used to love Tai
He
Bo.
wanted to hook up with you.
I wish.
He was
He actually
hitting on
hooked up
you.
with one of my friends.
Wow.
Not that night, but
Okay.
earlier I was jealous.
Is this before or after he rained a fountain of shit all into a crowd? Remember that story?
no.
It's a famous story.
Boat.
Yeah, a boat. Yeah,
I think it was in Chicago.
The sewage
Yeah.
from
His
their,
boat?
like
Or Boston,
sprayed a
yeah.
boat of people with like Dave Matthews feces.
Wow. He's sober.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
There's a lot of
This
great
conversation will definitely make him want to come on the show.
Yes, please come.
will.
Now's your chance.
And
Dave.
John
Dave
Mayer. Oh, you've got a
Matthews.
connection to John Mayer.
Yes.
I'm sure he can't wait. But I used to love Tai Bo, and I have now made a new commitment in this room to both of you. I know I also said I would meditate, which I don't do, but I will start working out. Do you meditate?
I try to. I've figured out my version of it, which is like morning pages from the Artist's Way in the morning. And even if I don't do it for that long, I always just make a note to like kind of do a brain dump. And that's kind of the meditation that I do. I do know I have like a mantra and do the transcendental meditation. I just don't love that.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't love it either.
I like also like aside from lifting weights and working out, I will like make a point to go like just walk for an hour, and that will be a meditation. And just kind of open my mind.
Yeah, there's different ways. You gave me an app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use it and I go in and out. But when it's one of those like, and I kind of always, it's almost annoying. And I think of actually like running an exercise like this too, where it's just like annoyingly effective for me. Where it's like, oh yeah, everyone tells me to do it. And then I start doing it. And if I get in the habit, my life gets so much easier.
Totally.
And I think it goes back to kind of what you guys were talking about. I really love the exploring like mind-body connection, which is huge with what we're talking about, which is, and that's why I especially love the amends to your body conversation.
I love that too.
Because it's like, I think we feel a lot of our thoughts about our body are negative, or we're trained that way. And so once you start realizing that a lot of like giving up a lot of these vices or taking care of yourself is truly taking care of yourself, and like it's really beautiful to hear about.
I spent so many years just saying, oh, you're bad, you're not doing this right, you're failing, you're fucking up, and like exactly that. It's a way of doing something nice for yourself,
right?
You know, it's bare minimum.
Yeah. I'm gonna start being more consistent. I do Pilates like 2 to 3 days a week. My daughter will attest
But that's
to that.
good for longevity too. Like
It is.
honestly,
I do it for like the stretching and like just
serotonin.
the stretching, the core work. But I need to do like I need to get more hardcore with it.
Oh, I don't know. Just show up for your body.
Yeah, exactly. I think making our goals too big
Yes.
is a big problem.
Yeah.
And making your goals unhealthy. Like I used to think, oh, if it's Thanksgiving and I'm going to eat, I need to go to Barry's before Thanksgiving dinner to earn those calories. And then if I eat, then I need to go burn them off. And that's a real binge and purge.
That becomes an addiction too. My sister is,
and that's just not how it works either. Your physical fitness is not actually going to work that way. If you rest a lot and you eat really well, and if you work out maybe 3 times a week, you're going to get just as shredded.
Well, it becomes an addiction. It becomes an unhealthy addiction too. If you start getting really, really into it, you know. My sister had anorexia, and she wrote and directed a movie called To the Bone.
I think I saw To the Bone.
I'm sure you did, with Lily Collins and Keanu Reeves.
Oh, it's really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Greta.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
No, she's one talented mofo, my sister. I'm bummed you didn't get to. You'll have to come back.
I'd love to.
Any other addictions, just to wrap it up? When we say addictions, we also are talking about it morphs like into obsessions. Yeah. Right? It doesn't have to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Addiction in a fun way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I don't feel like my life is unmanageable because of these, but there are things I like.
Yeah.
But I am obsessive. Still, just because I got sober doesn't mean that diseased thinking hasn't gone away. Those are normal thoughts, and you should I love that you're talking about that, because that's the normal way a diseased mind thinks. Like I think crazy things, but then you go, oh, that's that crazy part of my brain. It wouldn't be healthy if I did that. Move on. Mine are skincare.
Oh, your skin does look pretty damn good.
Thank you, but I'm obsessive about it. I mean,
can you walk us through it?
I just collect products and I try new products, and then I hoard them and then I shuffle them around. I went through a Charlotte Tilbury phase, which is so expensive. They sent me some free stuff, but then I liked it, so I bought it. And it's like $250 for the night cream. Like,
and it can't contain
it's Vaseline.
Okay, fine. I mean, it's gotta be.
I don't know what it is.
Because what's so different?
I know.
It's ridiculous.
Sunscreen and a little water and moisturizer is pretty much all we need if we want to look good.
Yeah.
But there's something about it that I don't know. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
Vain, I guess. Exercise, skincare, but it's with everything. If I'm gonna put like Tide Pods in the washing machine and you're supposed to put 2, I want to put 3. I suffer from the disease of more. Okay. As they say.
Yeah.
If I'm putting cheese on a sandwich, it's like, what? I do need that extra slice. Like, I just want one more. There was something, I mean, I notice it all the time.
Right. Just a little.
Putting honey in tea, it's like, I need an extra spoonful.
Right.
I need a little bit extra more of
I need to watch another episode.
Yes.
So I stayed up too late last night. Does this happen to you? Sometimes when I stay up past my bedtime, my bedtime is like 10. Oh, that's the other thing I'm obsessed with. Sleep.
That should be your number one obsession.
It is everything to me.
It should be the number one luxury we all have. And that's what will make you look the best.
Yeah. And I think I have changed. I feel like since, also the bloating and the dehydration's gone.
You are glowing.
Thank you, John. I sleep a lot.
Light from the
that I did. This was.
Oh my God! I got a red light mask. I wear it every day.
Well, this also makes you look great.
Oh, love it.
The pink light is very flattering. Are you dating?
No.
Okay.
I wish I was.
Because you had that one boyfriend when you were eating a lot of pastries at the time.
That was before the pandemic. Right before.
That was. Yes, I remember that. And that
was like, you're gonna get fat. Relationship weight. And I was like, oh, he's right. And I did.
And you did.
But I was also, again, taking elephant-sized tranquilizers.
You were. You were. So was that your last big relationship?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I had. Yeah, it was.
So question. Do you find it hard to date sober? Or does being sober kind of prohibit you from dating? Because it does me. I don't want to do it.
It's a good question. On one hand, I am severely intolerant of like
bullshit.
Anybody's games or bullshit. So so that is kind of a hindrance, because I think a lot of dating is kind of like going out with someone you may not think is a perfect partner, but humoring them until no.
Me neither.
I either want to spend time with you or I absolutely don't. I don't want to waste a weeknight dinner on a date with someone. I've had too many dates where halfway through I'm like, wow, I never
want to see this
ever want to hear you speak again. I can't stand your personality. And I think I'm pretty easygoing, but I find that most of the people like counter I can't stand. So I don't know. I think I went out with somebody who wasn't sober in the fall, and he was a perfectly nice guy. Everything. I think that they don't have to be sober, but for me, I think I just am a little less tolerant of bullshit. Yeah. So
Same.
that might hinder a little bit. They say never to date in your first year, and I know a lot of people don't like that. And they're like, oh. But it is kind of true because the first year, at least for me, was such an like. To use the word journey. It was such a journey.
We hate
like,
that word.
I do too.
Well, but what else? We can't think of another word.
Yeah.
I've come to love it because I say it instinctually, and then I remember you hate it. And it's like,
the
no.
worst word.
It's like panties.
Totally.
To me. I can't. Journey and panties are one of the same.
The amount of times I have to rewrite the copy.
Yeah, it is. It's a dumb word.
But the first year
the first
they say
year is like an expedition into learning who you are, dating yourself, and like I really felt that. Like I didn't know myself at all. I hated myself, and I hated my like being me and sitting with myself and having downtime. And then that first year, I learned how to really. I was saying this the other day. Sarah Silverman said something on her podcast. I think like either right before I got sober or the first year, and she was like, "My favorite person to hang out with is me," and I was like, "Oh." It can be like that, and now I do think that I love. I entertain myself. I make myself laugh. That sounds crazy, probably, but I really do.
No, it doesn't, because I've never. I feel like that even when I wasn't sober. I'm the kind of person who would go take myself to the movies. Right. I could sit at a bar by myself. That's probably an alcoholic, but I
used to go to the movies too. That's what I did the most as an addict. At like, I would be at work. I would maybe work a half day, and then I would go to the ArcLight.
Yes,
and I would take elephant doses of tranquilizers, and I would get the large wine pour and drink on the Xanax.
Too.
And I would sit in a row. There's like A through Z, and then there's AA through ZZ, like be back, and I would go in the ZZ aisle. Didn't care what movie it was, and I would just kind of pass out.
Yeah.
And then it would be like 3:30, and it'd be like, oh, day's over, time for bed. I mean,
time to go.
I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, that I would go to the movies, but I love the and I would only choose the movie theaters that served alcohol.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't take myself to the movies at AMC.
Hell no,
with just the Coke machines. Even now, when I go to the movies with the kids and I go into a movie theater that doesn't have alcohol, even though I don't drink alcohol, I'm kind of amazed that it exists. I'm like, wait, they don't serve booze here? What kind of movie? But then I'm like, oh wait, I don't drink.
Yeah,
I don't need to be.
Most do now, don't they? Maybe not AMC.
No, not. I don't think
they
AMC.
Have a bar outside that you can bring it in.
You can bring it in, but there's a couple. But yeah, I
used to bring beer into the movie theater. I would sneak
in your purse,
put it in my pants,
in your merce.
Tape it to
I would tape it to my tits. Yeah,
duct tape it to your body.
I would get tall boys, and I would just put it in my pants.
Oh yeah, they're not checking.
No,
they don't check at the movies.
I wasn't a big drinker. I keep saying that, but I keep saying all this shit I drank.
What goes hand in hand?
But I used to like just drink beer all the time. I loved it.
Well, it's beer.
When I couldn't find drugs, I drank alcohol.
Well, yeah, because it's more accessible.
Yeah.
I would think. But beer was never my thing. Although in my sobriety, I do like those non-alcoholic beers. Only when I'm being social.
Yeah,
I don't really like it at home. But when I'm in a social situation, I'll crack open those 00s.
Yeah,
Heineken.
Yeah, it's interesting the movie thing though, because I'm a big film nerd, and I was gonna also be a TV nerd and ask you other questions about Bravo. But
you can.
I will.
He's sitting right here.
Definitely, but I will definitely in a second. But I do think it's interesting because I go to the movies by myself all the time. And it is escapism.
Totally.
And it's totally immersive. So I think it goes hand in hand with substances because you're in a contained space.
Dr. Lilly.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm not certified. But yeah, I feel like it's immersive. You're in a contained space. You're not engaging with reality. Your phone's off. That was a big thing for me. It's like a good way to just like get away from the phone.
Disappear.
Yeah. So I think it makes actually a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But yes, Bravo history. And then also the fact that you're doing a podcast where you're going back, but you also were working for World of Wonder. So I'm new to reality TV.
Okay.
But I go hard with what I watch. So I've kind of gone really hard into Bravo.
What do you watch currently?
Currently it is Below Deck.
Okay.
All the Below Deck franchises. That was kind of my gateway. I
was a story producer on Below Deck Med when I was like abusing Adderall.
Oh, who was the captain?
Sandy.
Ooh, Sandy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I forget that they all are assigned to a certain area of the world, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Down Under,
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Down
hot.
Under's my favorite.
Sailing Yacht.
Love that Captain Jason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious about the big changes because I'm fascinated watching Bravo now because it's like a multiverse and it's so keyed in. And so I'm new to the Housewives franchise, and again, I go hard, so I started at the beginning, and so I'm still catching up.
Lucky you.
Yeah, no, it's wild. I've like stalled a little bit, but I've done Beverly Hills and I've done Salt Lake City, were the two. So I've been kind of just, again, crawling my way in. I did Summer House because of Carl, and like
We had Carl.
Yeah.
I love Summer House. I love Carl. Carl was my PA at World of Wonder.
oh my god,
Yes.
He was our first guest.
yes,
wasn't
he was your first.
Yeah, we did a
He's
Zoom with
great.
him.
such a
He
sweetheart.
was really
Yeah.
insightful and great.
Yeah. So, but I've been looking at it too, though, from like a little bit of like an outsider in. But then because I also wanted to go back and start at the beginning, so I'm like, what are the biggest changes you've seen, and why do you think it's survived like it has? Like,
I think the thing that's changed the most is when I was doing. I never did a Housewives, but I did shows like Housewives, and I was working for Bravo. It was very much like documentary rules, and reality was kind of taking shape.
yeah,
So I think now there was very much like, you will never break the fourth wall. We are documenting, we're a fly on the wall, and we're not going to script anything. And I don't think they do, but now they acknowledge they're on a TV show.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing.
yeah,
And in terms of Bravo specifically, I think, I don't know if they've just kind of gone with the times. And like, I admire how they've stuck with it. I think the way it stays locked in and keyed into the zeitgeist is like campy gay memes. You know what I mean? Like, I think they know how to like, those things pop out and become part of the culture and quotable, and and they're able to be flexible. Like when trends change, they kind of like, sometimes casts don't click. We've seen that happen a bunch of times, and I think they're realizing like, okay, well, let's find out what because things are evolving.
yeah.
Right. They lean in.
Yeah.
I think, that was part of what got me into it, where it was like, I heard that on Down Under, they had like actually intervened when there was about to be an assault happening, and like, and they documented it, and then like,
well, that stuff is definitely like, looking back to Workout that I'm watching on Show Pony, like, like there's just a bunch of stuff in there, like workplace appropriateness, things that you would never do. And I think in terms of producer and cast, I'm sure that those rules, like, as far as any production I was ever on, especially for Bravo, it was from the beginning like a very delineated line. There wasn't like, people weren't having sex with the cat. I mean, it was very strict.
Right.
But I think it's gotten more like
Racy?
strict. No, I think more strict in terms of the behavior of like the crew and cast, and like making sure that people feel comfortable, and so they don't say, I felt exploited or whatever.
Right.
And, because the philosophy is kind of like, okay, we're going to turn the cameras on and you're going to do what you're going to do, and that's on you.
Yeah.
But now I think it's kind of like, people in hindsight can look back and go, oh, you know what? I wasn't comfortable with that. And it's like,
right.
Okay, how do we make sure that
doesn't
we
happen?
lessen it? Because that's
Yeah.
not really fair to, I don't know. I guess it's a case by case basis.
It is.
I think as a viewer, I appreciate, because you kind of, you're there for the fun, and you're there for the crazy drama. Like, I admit that's one of the reasons I stuck with Salt Lake City or started with them, because it was like the stuff.
It's a shit show.
And it's also insane. It goes to levels I did not expect.
It's incredible, Salt Lake City.
So,
well, in terms of the alcohol, even I have to say too, there's allegations that people push booze on the cast to make them behave a certain way. That I really is not the case.
I don't believe it.
It's it was the onus was on the crew that if people got drunk on camera and they were to hurt themselves or something, that's your fault for allowing that. So you didn't. We would say, okay, there's a 2-drink cap.
Sure.
Anything you do on your own time after we shoot is not on. But like when the cameras are rolling and you're with us, you're going to keep it kind of tight and right. And I don't think like there's a. Like the campy, hilarious, gay, like messy chaos moments are great, but I'm not as entertained necessarily by bleak, drunk, blackout.
messiness.
Like stuff can come from that. But I think content-wise, it's entertain. You can find entertainment, and I know that like Bravo's philosophy is not like, oh, we must have like drunk chaos. Like I think it's actually
not at all.
the
Yeah.
opposite.
Opposite.
They find the entertainment in the creative ways people are interacting.
Exactly. And I think it's like finding the people and the
Totally.
casting. And I think that's why what happens lives is so lovely too, is that it keeps bringing you together and bringing those people on. And I definitely have wanted to start watching shows after watching Watch What Happens Live, which I know is obviously
I love that.
a big part of it.
Yeah.
But it's genuine. It makes it feel like real people, even though it is like, because I think the kind of arc of reality TV has kind of been all over the place.
Totally.
In terms
and who
of,
knows where it's headed next?
Yeah.
too.
Right.
Kind of
Bravo,
leaning
bravo,
in.
bravo.
Yeah, like, and when you think about it, it's a very natural progression because it was becoming awkward because a lot of these people were only friends because they were on a TV show. So
It wasn't,
I'm glad they went that way.
always, I still find it super entertaining. You know, all of them. I watch every single, The Valley is
The Valley I'm watching, that's
dark.
You should have some of them on.
Yeah. I mean, that
It's pretty bleak.
some of
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, and we talked about it a little bit too. It gives me, as watching it sober, and my thing was alcohol. Watching some of those people and what's going on, and the accusations, and then the blatant drunkenness, and people drinking champagne in the morning.
Yeah.
Triggering for me.
Triggering how?
Triggering the drinking, and like the drinking to get over your hangover.
Right. But does it make you feel?
It makes me feel desperately sad for that person. And it reminds me of my towards the end, because I wasn't always like that. It was just towards the end is when things got kind of.
But do you see it and go, "Oh, that's so sad," but I would like a glass of champagne.
No, zero.
Yeah.
I do not watch it and wish I could be drinking. I watch
If
it.
anything, it makes you go, thank
God.
God, I'm not.
But it makes me feel what that person's feeling.
Yes.
I know exactly what he's feeling in that moment, right there. I can feel his I can feel everything he's feeling.
That's why I love shows like that. People like I like to watch Intervention too, because they say it's a disease of forgetfulness. Like you forget, and it's easy to forget.
Childbirth.
Yeah. So you want to kind of remember it.
It does keep you sort of in that space of
and
like,
be grateful for that you're not trapped in that. Like, but there is a disease thinking moment that comes. Like, I remember one time my friend and I were talking about it. We saw a friend who was sober and kind of like in our group, and we saw him one day, clearly like on meth, without a car, like walking through a gas station. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on my way to like go hang out," and we were like, "Oh, that's so sad. We're so sad for him." But we also were like, "That was fun back in the day." Like.
remember that?
And then you can laugh at that because you're like, wow, that disease is still happening, and my mind is still going like, well, that would be kind of fun right now. You could just be like, oh,
I don't give a shit.
Don't look at your phone and go just like party with strangers
in an apartment
for 5 days,
right?
Yeah,
Pick the carpet. Pick the specks out of the carpet.
So
Right.
I think it's important for me to keep that fresh in my mind too.
Yeah.
That like
It's also I always like to say playing the tape.
yes,
Sure, I'd like to have that Cabernet at Lucky's Steakhouse tonight and, enjoy but what's going to happen either when I get home or 3 months from now, right?
Anthony Hopkins has a great quote. I'm not going to say it right, but he was like on a plane and the guy was like, "Oh, would you like a drink?" And he's like, "Oh no, I don't drink." And he was like, "Well, just have one champagne." And he was like, "No, I'll die." And he was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Maybe not tomorrow, but in 8 months I'll be dead."
Right.
Like, something like that. Look up the quote.
Yeah.
But and I get that. Like, I always think about that too. Even if I were to smoke weed, like I know exactly how my brain works. The next week it would be like, oh, I survived.
Yeah.
I could probably do some coke this week.
Right. Right.
And then I would survive that and be like, oh
I
my
got this.
God, I was being too careful. And then 6 months later I'd be in jail.
Yeah. And we don't
Or
want
dead.
that. No.
So it's easy for me to not drink or use.
Right. It's also easy for us to romanticize.
Yeah.
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 Well, especially watching Housewives and stuff like that. These people are on pills and they're like that's kind of when I was using, I kind of romanticized it that way. It's like, oh, well, this is what we do as adults. We drink wine and we pop a pill. And like, that's just kind of like.
It's grown-ups.
Yeah.
We're being grown-ups.
Yeah. And that didn't do well with my psyche.
No.
But I think it makes so much sense. That's the thing. It's like, it feels like you're so at fault, but it makes so much sense with how our brain works.
Yeah.
Just all brains work like
Right.
that kind of reward pleasure system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's special brains like yours and mine
Dr.
and my
Al.
sister that are literally wired differently.
Totally.
Completely wired differently. We were talking to a doctor and I was like, oh, so I'm totally different than a normie? She's like, your brain is wired differently.
Do you have ADHD?
No, I don't.
I do. I'm a late in life diagnosis.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think when I was a kid in the 80s, you know, it was very much like the kids who were being diagnosed as ADHD were the really off the wall, bad behaved kids. And my mom was always like, you're not like that. And I wasn't. I was very calm.
Right.
I was very inward when I had stress, but I couldn't learn properly. Like,
Yeah.
I had a hard time focusing. I have it. And like all these like symptoms they talk about, I have every single one of them.
Do you have hyperfixations?
Yeah.
Because I was about to say, I feel like in terms of like things that I feel like are so close to addiction or obsession, hyperfixation is such a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like caffeine, I like overdo the caffeine, but I could drink a coffee before bed and it would be fine. That's an
not me.
ADHD thing.
Yeah. My ex-husband, Drew's, who's here, her dad was diagnosed with ADHD back in the early 70s. And he was hyperactive and he was a nightmare for his parents. Like they would lock him in the room and he was really, really like had a lot of energy. And then he didn't do well in school. He ended up going to university and his dad said, you know, I just don't, he didn't think that he was going to become anything. He just thought this kid is just so, you know, wired differently and hyper. And it turns out when he focused on music, he became one of the most prolific television composers in our time. He's like the golden boy of television
I used to
composition.
hate myself for, you know, you're not like everyone else. You can't finish a task or whatever. But if I like something and I'm interested and I do it, like
it becomes like you.
I'm amazed at myself, you know? So that was kind of but I think there's a lot of crossover between addiction and ADHD.
I've read
a lot
that.
Of
I've heard
times,
that.
Because you're compulsive and you're obsessive and
You want to quiet it. And
yeah.
And it's the way of numbing out.
Yeah.
Oh, well, John.
We
my God,
have
are we
hit an
done?
hour.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
we
okay,
did
amazing.
it. This has
This
been
was-
a
my gosh.
dream
Oh my God, I
come
already
true.
want to come back.
Oh,
You
do.
Yeah.
Wait, because the next time you come back, Marty will not be sick.
Yeah.
Lily will still be here.
Okay.
She'll
I'll
be
just be
producing
hiding.
over there. But no, I'm so happy you came on.
Thank you for
are
having me.
a dream guest, and I just adore you and always have.
Same.
Aw.
I'm happy to see you glowing.
Thank you. And you
Love
were
you.
one of my inspirations. I mean that.
That
I
is
mean
so
that from the
amazing to
jump.
hear.
From the
That
jump.
is so flattering and sweet.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
All right. Well, I love you.
It's been so lovely to meet you. Seriously, it's been the best.
I can't believe you saw Boy from Oz. It's so funny.
Is that awesome?
It's amazing.
It was all meant to be.
truly.
So nice to meet you. Thank
So
you for
nice.
having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming.
Thanks,
Yay.
everybody. Well, what did you think, Lily?
Oh my God, I love him so much.
Do you have a crush?
I have like a professional crush. I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's like I have it a lot, but he's up there and the like, I want to be you when I grow up, even though I'm a full adult, but I do that a lot.
I know. He's pretty special. And he, I mean, gosh, it's just when you really get to talk to somebody who, and I know him, I mean, we've known each other, but we haven't really gotten into the touchy-feely stuff ever, you know, because when he would come on Jeff Lewis Live, that's a very fun and, you know, and silly show. And he's very fun and silly.
Yeah.
John is hilarious.
Totally.
But it was so nice to get really to the meat of the matter of addiction,
And
you
he
know?
was so beautifully honest about everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we actually want to talk about. It goes back to what we talked about with Jeffrey about getting vulnerable. It's just like, it's the real stuff. I love the overlaps that happen and like how you both are like, oh, I thought I was a total mess.
Yes.
And everyone
You're-
around you was like, maybe
you're
not.
fine. You're fine. Yeah. No, it's interesting. And I meant what I said when he was, you know, one of the people who, when he said that he was sober and I wasn't, that I was like, oh, wow. And that's amazing. And you're still funny and you're still fun and people gravitate towards you. And so he really, truly was one of the people that I was like, I want what he has. You know?
Totally. I could imagine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because he's so lovely and so personable and has it all together. And yeah, you do. It's aspirational. I want to be him when I grow up.
That you can, yep, absolutely. And his podcast is very
Oh my
funny.
God. And just, like, as a film and TV nerd, just the best idea. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The coolest.
So listen
tell
to,
me more.
I want to say, because he didn't get to say where you can see and
Yeah.
listen to John
Totally.
Hill is on where you get your podcasts and on YouTube. His podcast is called Show Pony. Highly recommend. He is also on Radio Andy.
Yes.
On Andy Cohen Live.
Yeah.
And he's on his co-host every day.
Yeah.
And then he has his own show on SiriusXM.
He does. And he's got a lovely website, johnhill.online. You can see everything on there.
Yeah, he does stand up, and he has done a great lot of touring.
Yeah.
And
he mentioned he's doing a new one or working on a new one.
He's working on a new one, so I would believe that you can just go to his website and see what he's up to.
Yeah.
So that's where you find him. And then on Instagram, he is John Arthur Hill.
Yay. Do the things. So, Megan, I
Yeah.
have an important question.
Uh-oh.
What's your addiction this week?
Well, okay. Why is it always television?
I know.
It's television,
I know.
television. Well,
I know. And
I
you talked about it with
him.
Yeah.
So it is. I have been watching this the rehearsal, which the guy just blew my mind with that. It is my money tree. It is traveling. I've been looking like extensively. Bring my family.
Yeah.
I really am looking at all the places that I can swap homes. I am obsessed with keeping the rats and the gophers out of my
that's rough.
backyard. We had a party for Beau's graduation this weekend.
Fun.
It was lovely, except for the preparation. We were sweeping behind the sofa, and there was a drain.
No.
And I had Drew hosing the back of the patio, and the water went down the drain, and out came 7 rats.
No. Don't love that.
Yep. 7 rats living in the drain behind my outdoor sofa. So
That's when you have to go really in your brain to like, I'm just going to pretend this is a Pixar movie and they're all super friendly and cute. 'Cause,
Ratatouille.
yes. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's horrifying.
yes. So there's a lot of vermin
Yeah.
in my backyard that I'm trying to get out.
Yeah.
But how about you?
Sure. I was up all night trying to think of this. No, it was like, don't embarrass myself in front of John. What am I
Okay.
going to wear? And then what is my obsession of the week? And again, I think like I predictably am like, okay, my real obsession is 911. And because I finally started watching it.
Oh,
And-
I'm sorry.
It's a lot. But I was like, okay, but I love hard, as Marti, I think, said at one point on the pod. And I love that description because I do. It's like any given week, whatever I'm watching, I'm doing the Kay Hanley. I'm going on every podcast. I go hard.
Deep dive.
So I decided, I realized though, as I was talking to like family, that my real obsession, and it's a lifelong one, is Taylor Swift. And as of this taping, last week, she just got her master's back.
I heard.
And what's hilarious though is like, as over the moon as I am for her, love this for her, yay, the best era has begun. I was like, I'm pretty chill about it compared, because I get all of it online.
Okay.
But I think I'm obsessed with appearing more chill about her than I am, which anyone who knows me and listening to this is probably laughing because I'm not chill at all about her.
You're
but I
obsessed.
try really hard.
Right.
Because I've been a fan of her since I was 13.
Oh.
So hilariously, I saw Boy from Oz before this. So,
Okay.
but I discovered her when I was 13 and she was 16.
Yeah.
She has been my ride or die since then, soundtrack of my life. But it means I've also seen like every evolution of her fandom. And so I've tried to be cool and be like, oh, I hate the term Swiftie.
Yeah.
And now I'm proud Swiftie.
Yes.
And at least I'm like not like, yes, of course I'll go on TikTok to watch the shows, but I'm not making the videos where I'm like doing the murder board.
Right.
But then someone asked me about her and I can give you like
Everything.
all the lore.
Yeah.
And that happened quite literally as I was talking to my dad. And I was like, oh, Yeah, what's really funny about this is that she announced that she's not doing Reputation Taylor's version. And that's a big deal because everyone's been talking about this for 2 years and they call it clowning. And then I was like, okay, I'm a clown.
Yep.
I'm a clown.
You're that is a definite obsession.
Yeah.
But you're not alone.
I'm not.
There are many others like
It
you.
was delightful company.
Right. You're in this with many others, and what a wonderful girl and person and artist to be obsessed with.
The fact that she has not failed me.
Yeah,
and
she's fantastic.
It's
what's not to love?
Yeah, I am so proud of my 13-year-old taste.
Good for you. Well, that concludes My Addiction.
Yay!
This episode. You can find us on the socials at My Addiction Pod, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you get your socials. Hit us up, and we'll see you next time. Yay! Great having you, Lily.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to My Addiction. As a reminder, this podcast is meant for entertainment. We are not medical practitioners, and anything on the podcast does not constitute medical advice or treatment. Please consult your own medical professionals at all times. My Addiction is a Tiny Pyro production. It was created and hosted by Marti Noxon and Megan Weaver. It is produced by Marti Noxon, Megan Weaver, Maria Grasso, and Lillian Holman. It is edited by Lillian Holman. Our graphics were designed by Lane Bynum. Our social media is managed by Aziza Abu-Boutain and Ashley Lindsay. Special thanks to Allison Shano, Rebecca Steinberg, Amy Gregonis, and Melissa Tavarit.